Hello viewers and welcome to another Racer Unbounded video then. So you've seen the first one where we've had the developer talking about some of the things we're going to see in the game. Now it's time for a hands-on, get my first impressions of it since the early build, of course, that we played many months ago. So choosing a car then and going for the Mustang sort of style here, and so something like this. Let's get in there, have a spin. We've got some go faster stripes on the car, which means we're going to go faster. Okay, so initially then, away. You can see here you can crash through walls, no problem. Take them down. Some instructions here, obviously press B to drift the car, it's like a handbrake, A to destroy targets. You want to press A just before you're in front of the target, because if you press it too early you'll run out of the boost that offers, and then you'll just smack into it and not do any damage to it and look a bit silly. It happens to me in this video probably. Right, so again through there, not getting the angle right on the way out and clipping the wall. So that's one thing that's key, is you've got to, there's no point in even going through these obstacles if you know, unless you know the angle that you're going to have to come out in. So early on there is going to be some experimentation, because you're thinking, right, if I go through this building, where am I going to pop out, what am I going to face? But you'll get used to the different sort of sections on offer. So drifting my way around then, I'm trying to drift up, get a little bit of power. This here you're seeing is the one-player mode. Our multiplayer impressions are actually delayed until January, and we'll be releasing those for you guys then. Suffice to say, there will be some multiplayer videos to come as well. So going around the city then, I thought I saw a building opportunity. Always try to destroy the buildings if possible, but again, they see wrong angle, sent me completely down the wrong way. So I went in there and then I went over to the bollard, and the bollard said no. So, oh, disaster. You know, it just happens, doesn't it? It comes in threes. So Miles in the lead, and I'm thinking, right, close the gap now. No more mucking about. In fact, no more going through buildings if I don't know what's on the other side. I'm still going for it there, aren't I? Recklessly going to blow up some trucks. Sometimes it's difficult to see the scenery in the distance actually, though, you know, I do point out this is filmed off screen, where it wasn't the option for direct feed, so won't be doing any of that until I actually get it home in a few months time and having a proper go on it. Avoiding the building there because it was quite late coming up with the destroy symbol for me, so I thought, no, I'm going to avoid it. Taking out a bad guy there. So working my way back up again the order. There is very much a sort of second player boost in this game, which gives you the option of closing up again. And now I'm probably going to go through this building, but I got taken out by scum. So through the building then, straight through. Try and keep the car as straight as possible. If you're at an angle, generally speaking, that's what's going to send you into a wall, but it is helpful to know what's on the other side, though it can be occasionally frustrating when you're going through walls and the computer takes control, as it were, CPU control, and you come out and you're facing a wall or something. Is occasionally a frustration, but this is a very early version of the game, it has to be pointed out. The music isn't finalised yet. There's going to be lots of tweaks to graphics and everything else that you're seeing, HUD, all the rest of it. So there's still lots to come in the coming months. Nice feeling of speed there on some of the high-speed sections. Of course, this particular version doesn't include any other viewpoints yet, though I'm reliably assured that there will be an in-car view bumper cam at the end later in development. Second place there. It's so frustrating when you're going towards the finishing line, you just don't have another boost. You'll do a couple of runs on it and it's easy, you know, it's just knowing where, as you saw in that game, where the building destroy points are and where you're going to come out again. Different car now then, a lot of grunt to this one. Taking out a bad guy straight away there. You've got to learn to be very aggressive. If you have a power boost there, use it straight away. This isn't a game where you want to hang on to it. You want to be using it, power sliding, using it, power sliding all the time, being very aggressive. The power sliding is an interesting one. On these early games I use it all the time. In later games you'll see I actually begin just using a foot brake and then using the B pretty much as a handbrake. So I'll only use it on a corner that perhaps requires it, or on some corners like this where there's just a very light sort of touch and then the car will get into a very light slide and take its way through the corner. You need to just learn the technique there, and that's something you'll see develop in these videos. So down the freeway and off the freeway. Bits hanging off my car. And we can't see the running order on this video. I can't see it, but I should be leading the race now. Might be in second place actually. And through another building destroy point here. And so that again, that gives me a boost straight away to give another power. So that fires me off into the distance once more. Again, you never know where you're going to end up with these. Thankfully, you can destroy some of the traffic there quite easily. Otherwise, it could be quite challenging. Ridge Racer, though, I mean, it's a game that's kind of, you know, changed a lot through the years. I mean, if we look at, you know, Ridge Racer 1, I mean, Ridge Racer 1 when it came out was mind-blowing. I mean, people talk about it as an arcade game, but actually it wasn't. And I'm going to hopefully do some Ridge Racer videos next year where I look at the classic titles and put my opinion to them. See how the corner I took there was slightly different as well. Just a little bit of foot brake and then just a slight touch on the B button. So not generating as much slide, but much more controlled. So you'll see I get a little bit better at it as I just begin to understand the handling. But this is very limited time that we have on this game. Literally, you sit down, play it, and these are among the first sort of few drives that we do around it, getting a feel for it, and coming back to you guys with impressions. But I was saying, Ridge Racer, you know, it is a game that I'm going to go through next year, and you know, people talk about it as an arcade game, but actually the arcade original had a 6-speed gearbox and a clutch, so it was actually meant to replicate real life in many ways. They just weren't very good at it. And so when it got converted to the PlayStation, it became a lot more arcade-like, and later versions of Ridge Racer were just put your foot on the brake and turn the car, or just take your foot off the acceleration and the car will go into an automatic slide but will cling to the road, and there's certain techniques behind that as well as maintaining your revs. Of course, it changed with Rage Racer and then changed again with Ridge Racer 4. You know, each game appealing to a different type. I liked Ridge Racer 5 an awful lot because it harked back to the original game for me, and it was a really nice sort of gesture from Namco to do that. Here we are with Ridge Racer Unbounded, and it's a very different experience to previous Ridge Racer games. It's not a traditional Ridge Racer game, and you know, but there are Ridge Racer elements within it, and you can see some of these cars are developing that Ridge Racer look to them as well. But we really can't tell. It's so early at the moment. This package is growing all the time, as we would have seen on some of these videos and from our interview, previous interview here, and it's something that we can't judge yet until we've seen the full game and the full package and how big it is and how many online modes are going to be. I think online is going to be critical to this game as to its enjoyment. You can't help when you see that. Again, I went through the point wrong there. You can see it's sent me straight into the wall. Incredibly frustrating at times because you think, oh well, I'm just going to avoid them in future. Again there, I made some indecision. I thought, am I going to go through it? And I did, and I was too late. Oh dear, fail. But hey, at least we know for next time. Yeah, I mean, there's no getting away from it. Just looking at the game there, it does have very much a Burnout look to it. It almost feels very Burnout Revenge, actually. People have talked about it as a mix of Burnout Revenge and Split Second, and there's no doubt that you have elements from both of those games displayed within it. I mean, I quite like Flat Out. I think Flat Out's a very different game because of sort of off-road elements and everything else to it. Heavy braking in this corner. There's probably a way to take that with a lot more speed, but again, this was early days for me. Now, I was going straight towards the wall there, and then realised when I got there, whoa, I've not got enough power to destroy it, so continue on around there. Always got to keep an eye on that power bar. Nice corner to power slide around there. Went a little bit further inside than I was expecting, and then went through this area. I had absolutely no idea where I was going here, because this is literally my first time seeing the track. So no idea where to go. Thinking, oh, where do I join the rest of the track? There are some tricky walls. I can come around here. I mean, the wall even on the left-hand side, which you're not going to see, it actually juts out. There's a lot of walls jutting out that you can easily crash into if you come off a corner badly. See, it gave me player control right before the apex there, so I had no chance of actually avoiding the wall. Things like that, they really need to look at, you know, how close to an apex they give players control, because if you're on top of the apex, you're just going to smack straight into the wall as soon as they give you control. You know, so I think that's something that they're going to need to look at in the final game. And through up over this section again. I also find once you find a line that you're happy with, as I almost hit the divider to the left there, once you find a line you're happy with, you tend to follow that line. There's bound to be quicker lines than others, destroy routes which are easier than others as well, which help your gameplay. It'll be interesting to see how many of those there are in the final game, and how some of it's used online as well. There will be very different sort of styles of play online, no doubt, to the one-player game. And so much more convincing way in the lead here. There's no music to any of this at the moment. That's something which is going to be revealed at a later date, so we look forward to some of that. Hopefully some return of some classic Ridge Racer music tracks. Ridge Racer always had amazing music back in the day. So of course there's no sound at the end of a race, it's just a silent end screen. This is a drift mode now. This is just a one-off recording. I didn't even know I was entering a drift mode. I just thought it was another race at this point. And then I realised, whoa, it's got a drift. So you'll see I'm absolutely useless at drifting at first. I'm actually driving it, and then as the race goes on I get better and better at feeling a drift. So if I ran this again, I had time to run it again, I would have had a much better game. And it's something I'll do when I get hold of the final game, is to do some better style drifts here. Now sliding around these sections. Again, it's just a little touch, but you need quite a bit of momentum before you get into the drift. So sometimes you just want to not drift for a moment, get up lots of speed, and then you can do some really nice high-speed drifts. I'm going too slow at this stage to get a drift in, so I have to speed up again. And then just a slight touch. I'm trying to snap together different drifts there, but you see that second part really slowed it down, so you have to speed up again. Thankfully the blocks at the side were all destructible. That's one thing on the original Ridge Racer, was if you hit a wall you actually stop dead, which was horrible back in the day. I remember you'd make a mistake like that, you're travelling along at incredible speeds and then stop. This car actually doesn't want to go in a straight line. It's actually harder to drive in a straight line. It's constantly sliding all the time. But no doubt be a lot of fun for people, I think online as well. No doubt there'll be drift modes and stuff like this to enjoy with friends. A few improvements there in the drifting as we come across the finishing line. So that was a quick look at the drift mode. No doubt loads more of that can be on offer in the final game. So now we're looking at another race. Again, I'm trying to get as much coverage for this stuff as possible for you guys. And darker environments here, neon environment, lots of lighting, stuff like that. Nice to see, looks pretty cool. Again, you can't help but when you look at some of those environments think of Burnout, something like that, because it does remind you of that. The game of course has come along quite a way since the early build, but you can see buildings like this one which were actually in the earlier build this year, looking a bit more detailed now, a bit more refined. Mainly just lighting. I mean, it's not a huge amount of difference in the actual graphical look, but again, little things there, braking distances, you need to slow down a bit before you use your B brake, B handbrake button, so use it as a handbrake. You know, if you're going to use it at high speed, the car's probably just going to spin out, and that's something which I was learning at the time. Oh, and again they're going through a building and not knowing what was on the other side, so it sent me straight into a wall again. Occasionally very frustrating, it has to be said, when that happens. You know, you're relatively straight going through the building and you come out facing a brick wall. Another thing as well, actually, as you see as I clip a little support pillar there, is you occasionally don't know what you can hit and what you can't hit. That's another little issue I've had with some of the objects in the game. So racing along there, avoiding some stuff, hitting a few trees, but that isn't doing any damage. Getting lots of speed before stamping on the brakes, and a little handbrake there just to finish off, get the power. Not using my boost, which is probably a mistake at this stage. You do need to get an awful lot more aggressive with it, but saving it for the finishing line there, and that's a quick session on Ridge Racer. So that's it for now, viewers. More from me very soon.